So Ironheart really should have been so much more iconic, especially as it was blending two of the best parts of the MCU, namely technology and magic. At least from a release point of view, it got more respect than Echo did, which was just dumped on Disney Plus in one day. At least over here it was spread across 2 weeks. Speaking of Disney Plus, I think one of the main issues, one of the many issues with Ironheart is that it had the same writers that created She-Hulk Attorney at Law. And unfortunately, I just feel like they took this series down such a lackluster route, and this character was right at the epicenter of technology and magic, so honestly, I just cannot express it enough. This series should have and could have been so much better. And in a weird way, I feel like the haters of Ironheart weren't disproven when they were saying that the trailers for Ironheart is making it seem like it's a villain's origin storyline. And so from that perspective, they could have gone down a really interesting route in terms of making it a little bit similar to Anakin Skywalker. And similar to Anakin, Riri Williams feels like she's got this undeniable, unrealized potential. And then as a result of that, just goes down a very dark path. And going back to Disney Plus, hit shows like Moon Knight, Loki Season 2, What If, and WandaVision have shown that characters that are kind of in the middle of being good and being a little bit bad at the same time are so captivating, especially when they're written well. So the Disney Marvel budget, along with the fact that on paper you have got the blend of magic and technology, really meant that Ironheart could have been so much better. But it's really weird that they just sat on this show for years, as they filmed this ages ago. So let's look at something that they did well in this show, which I feel like is the introduction for the long-awaited, speaking of WandaVision, Mephisto. And I thought it was really interesting how they made it really, really dark, as he was able to use influence and manipulation to really get people's souls, as he sells you this dream, which is just unfortunately shrouded and surrounded with evil. For example, with Parker, who feels like he deserves and is entitled to everything that his father has earned himself with his own two hands, and then he just gets manipulated through greed and ambition that all of this can be yours if you just simply sacrifice your soul in order to get it. And at what cost has Parker achieved this, as now he's got nobody in his life, he's fully isolated, and the one person that was loyal to him, which is of course his cousin, is now dead. So if Riri has signed a very similar deal with Mephisto, it's just going to be really tragic to see what happens next with her. As at what cost has Natalie been brought back, as the Ancient One has said that there's no magic in the world that is able to resurrect people, but maybe Mephisto can do this with a dark edge. And obviously Mephisto has been manipulating and influencing everything, so maybe it was actually his evil magic that got rid of Natalie the AI. Considering how brilliant the Iron Man battles have been, it's a shame that they didn't give the same love and attention to all of the Ironheart battles, as they were either really, really convenient or just so unrealistic. The fact that she was able to beat and outsmart this expert with knives without even using technology was just so unbelievable. I mean, maybe if she was able to somehow use a bit of tech to outsmart him, that could have been a little bit believable. But also, when she's in this restaurant fighting these people that are experts at fighting, and she's pretty much got no fighting experience, at least she was able to trap them in that force field. I feel like that sequence was cool, and I just wish she was able to use more tech gadgets. And as far as final episodes are concerned, her final battle with both Parker and Ezekiel should have been 10x'd. Both of them should have individually been so much grander. I mean, it was interesting seeing the devilish side of Parker coming out, and of course some of the technology that Zeke/Ezekiel can use, but come on, both of those battles should have been way better. And there were so many deaths that were caused unintentionally, fair enough, by Riri Williams, but she didn't feel any remorse for any of them. I love the dark arts magic that was being shown, and I really liked it actually when Riri Williams felt like she had nowhere else to turn and then went to her mother, and then her mother is the one that introduced her to other characters that are able to use the dark arts. I hope that we do get to see a lot more of them. I feel like the post-credit scene is setting up Strange Academy, so maybe that's where we'll see all of these little storylines being continued. But all of the other characters I feel like were pretty weak, especially Parker's group. But it'll be interesting to see what happens next either way. I know we didn't officially see Riri Williams shaking the hand of Mephisto, so maybe that deal wasn't actually made, and that everything that we saw at the end of episode 6, maybe that was all just a vision that Riri Williams was having and what her life could be like if she does actually bring Natalie back. But considering Marvel's track record lately, for example with Secret Invasion, Eternals, so many storylines are being set up, but none of them really go anywhere, which is just such a shame. But overall, as far as Ironheart is concerned, I expected so much much more from this series. I feel like the final 3 episodes are so much more watchable than the first 3 episodes, and I just wish they were just integrated a little bit more into the wider MCU. I know that they had little touches, for example, talking about camouflage, but they could have just done a little bit more integration. But I just feel like because of everything that I've spoken about in this video, this series sits between being very average and being very forgettable. And so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give Ironheart a 3.5 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Ironheart? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.